Today we're firing up the meat grinder and we are making these awesome chicken bacon ranch sausages on the offset stick burner. Let's go. My friend Wes from Big Wick's down in Lubbock, Texas sent me this smoked jalapeno ranch mix, and this stuff is amazing. And he also sent me a recipe for these chicken bacon ranch sausages, and I knew I had to make them, so we're doing that today. Let's get this grinder put together. Let's get that meat going. We'll show you how we do this. The beginning part of making this recipe is about all the prep work. The initial prep work, we've got our grinder bits in the freezer. These have been in the freezer for a day just so that they're nice and cold. That way, as the chicken and bacon are going through the grinder, they don't get gummy and get smeared throughout. They come out nice and ground up. So you wanna make sure you keep these cold. So as soon as you get these out, get it built and let's get this grinding. So I'm gonna put this together real quick, then we're gonna go talk about the meat. This is the number 12 die, 4.5 millimeters, just for reference. Put together, ready to go. Now I'm gonna go pull the meat out of the freezer and we'll talk about why it's in the freezer in a second. Just ran and grabbed the meat out of the fridge. Today we're making about 12.5 pounds worth of sausage. So we're starting with 8 pounds of chicken thigh and we're starting with 4 pounds of bacon. This is just bacon from the store. Now I took these chicken thighs, cut them into cubes, didn't trim them at all. Want to keep all that fat in there to keep these nice and moist, and that's why we're adding the bacon. Same thing, just open the package, cut these into quarters or fifths, and we're just gonna put this all through the grinder together. Now I did put these in the freezer because just like these bits, you wanna keep this really cold as it's going through so it doesn't smear and get clogged in there and come out funky. So these are ready to go, nice and cold. They're almost frozen, but not quite. They're pretty stiff, but not quite. Next step, gonna run these through the meat grinder. Once this is all ground up, we'll go ahead and add all the ingredients and tell you what those are in a second. Let's grind all this up right now. Load the hopper up so we can kind of go through this quick. Once you get moving, goes pretty quick. It's fired up. This is ground up. We're done with this, so I'm gonna get this cleaned up out of the way and we're gonna come back and show you what the ingredients are, how to mix it up, and when we're ready to case. Let's get this cleaned up. Meat's ground up. I'm gonna put on some cotton gloves underneath my black gloves here because this is still ice cold. I wanna freeze my hands off. Now this is truly one of the easiest sausage recipes that I've come across. So far we've got 8 pounds of chicken thighs, untrimmed, boneless, skinless, and 4 pounds of bacon. Next I'm gonna give this a quick mix to really get that chicken and bacon integrated here. Now that's good enough because we're gonna do a lot more mixing here in a second with our other ingredients. Now the main star of this show is gonna be that Big Wick's jalapeno ranch seasoning. So let's add that in here first. We're going 50 grams of the ranch seasoning. We're going 8 grams of the pink curing salt. And we had 170 grams of water. And I'm just gonna add this slowly when I need it to help hydrate those spices and get them integrated into the meat. Add a little bit more here. Really been wanting to invest in a meat mixer. Haven't done it yet. If anybody's got a good meat mixer besides their own 2 hands that you'd recommend, let me know. Add that last bit of water in here. Now you can tell this is starting to come together nice when it does not fall apart like that. Proteins are really breaking down and they're becoming a cohesive unit. This is looking great. We're gonna let this sit, let everything marry for maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes as we get the casings for the sausage ready. I have it currently sitting in water because they come salted and dehydrated a little bit. So you definitely wanna pull those out, rinse them a few times, let them soak in water for about 15, 20 minutes. That way they become pliable and they don't tear and you get all that salt out of there too. So let's go get those casings, let this set, be back when it's time to case these up. All right, this has been setting for about 20 minutes now. We have our casings nice and rehydrated, have most of that salt rinsed out. You want to keep rinsing it until you get a nice clear water in there and it stays nice and clear. And let's start casing these up. Yeah, nice and tacky. Definitely want to force this in there. You want to get as much air out of there as possible because you don't want any air bubbles in the sausage. I have to do this in honor of Chud because my son loves Chud's barbecue, especially when he does this. He laughs every time. Got to get the whoop, pinch that off. Now with these casings, you want to give it one final rinse through. Try to get any salt that may be inside out of it. So you find the opening and you just run some water through it. It's also going to let it slip on the horn a little easier. This is the horn here. Put this on here. Get a tight knot on there. Keep the tray or pan a little wet because as it's sliding and coiling, it's going to help keep it moving. Now you want to kind of keep a tight feel on here, but you also don't want it to pop while you're stuffing it either. Once you do this a few times, you'll definitely get the hang of it and get more of a feel for it. Then I like to go ahead and just start spinning them right away. Pinch it off. This is another thing you'll get better at as you do it. As long as they're close enough, it'll be good. But you also want to be careful. You want to get it too tight and pop it. Yeah, not the most consistent, but whatever. I'm not selling these. They're for the backyard, and we're going to enjoy them all the same. I'm going to move these to a fresh tray. I'm going to make a coil, link it up, put it on a fresh tray. And with these ends, I'm going to snip these off later, so don't worry, they will be coming off. So I've done 2 full coils, linked them up. I'm going to finish this up, and we'll be back once I have all this cased up. We have our stack of sausages all cased, all stuffed, smelling great. Now what I like to do, little cheat code, is we gotta let these sit overnight for several reasons. One, we want those casings to dry out, and especially the joints in between that we twisted up. That way when we snip them and make individual links, they don't come gushing out. They stay nice and dried out, nice and tight. 2, we're really letting those flavors marry in there, get all that rehydration of those seasonings, and we're allowing that pink curing salt to go to work to make these safe to cook at a low and slow temperature. So I like to put them in a pan. I'm gonna put a layer of paper towels down just to try to absorb any extra liquid that these are gonna have coming from them. Then I just set these in and layer them. Now's the time where I take off that extra casing. Very excited for these. They look and smell great, like I was saying. Kind of want to give these air. I don't like putting them on racks because I don't necessarily want that wire rack shape underneath. But if you want to, feel free. It's not going to hurt it. If you could keep these from touching, that'd be great. But it's going to be more important when it's on the smoker to not have them touch because you don't want any bald spots or anything. I'm going to hit it with another layer of paper towels on this. Again, we're trying to absorb any moisture out of here, dry out those casings as best as we can. One more layer of paper towels on top again. Try to pat these dry a little bit, really get those to dry out while these are sitting. These are gonna go into the refrigerator now overnight. You can let them go 2 days. It's gonna be safe, keep it in the refrigerator. They're gonna dry out. These are gonna be sitting for about a day, and that's about how long it takes to clean up all the dishes we just made. The worst kept secret of sausage making is the unbelievable stack of dishes you have left over when you're done. All right, we'll be back tomorrow when it's time to throw these on the smoker. Just pulled these sausages out of the refrigerator. They've been resting for about 30 hours, drying out really nice. Take a look at these. And I have to tell you, these things are smelling great. Definitely get a note of garlic, which is always a great smell. We got the offset fired up right now, coming up the temp. Let's work on these sausages. We're gonna separate them into links. When I initially twisted these up, I wanted to let them rest. So these little pieces right here dry out nice, and when you snip them, they don't open up. Stays nice and closed. They won't pop open during the cook. Skin's nice and dried out. I'm gonna go through the line here. Go ahead, separate them all. because when we put them on the smoker, you want to be able to move them around. You're going to be making individual links anyway. Now's the time. Let's get these separated. Got these all separated, looking and smelling great. Like I said, I cannot wait to try these out in a few hours. Let's head over to the stick burner, get these on so they can start smoking and cooking. Let's go. Cooker's right at 200, 210 degrees on either side of this cooker. We're using these smaller splits. These are basically quarter or fifths of actual splits, just split up real small so we could keep that temp nice and low and slow. Now from all that bacon and the chicken thighs that are in there, there's a lot of fat in these, so you don't want to overcook them, have them bust open and lose all that moisture. So we're keeping it nice and low and slow to keep all that moisture in the sausage. So let's get these on the grill and start cooking. Want to be sure to give them a little space as you put them on there. You don't want these touching, or else you're going to get some bulb spots, some touch spots on there, and it's just not going to make for a pleasant looking sausage. It'll taste great and everything. It's just for appearance at that point. Smoker's loaded up with these sausages. We're gonna let these run for 4 or 5 hours until that internal gets up to 160 or so, 165, because it is chicken. We wanna make sure that these do get cooked all the way through. We're gonna come back, check on it every hour, 2 hours or so, maybe give it a quick rotate. We'll be back when it's time to pull these off. Alrighty, these sausages have been going for just over 4 hours on the offset. They're looking fantastic, so I went ahead and I checked the temperature. We're right at about 170, so it's time to pull these off, cool them down, and stop that cooking. We're gonna pull these sausages off, throw them into an ice bath to shock them, stop that cooking. Then we're gonna clean them off a little bit, throw a few back on to taste. Let's get these off and into the ice bath. Look at these things, they're looking fantastic. All right, we have these off. Let's get these dunked into the ice bath so they can start cooling down. And then we're gonna give them a wipe off with the towel just to get some of that soot and smokiness off of it that we can. Once these are fully cooled down, about 15, 20 minutes, even a half hour, you can let them sit in here. You just want to get that temperature down in there so they stop cooking, because you do want that fat to stay inside of the sausage until you really cook it next time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick up the temp in this smoker. We're going to try to get it up to 300 or more, and I'm going to throw a handful of these back on so we can cook them and taste them. Once these are completely cooled down, you could go ahead, pull them out, dry them off, vacuum seal them, store them in the fridge, freeze them. They're going to be good for a little while because they have the curing salt and they've been smoked. So these are pretty preserved right now. We're gonna kick up the smoker temp and get these fired up. These are gonna take about another 20 minutes to cook. Let's go get a few back on the grill. See how that big Wick smoked jalapeno ranch mix did with these chicken bacon ranch sausages. I can't wait. Let's get some back on the grill. We have our sausages done. They are looking and smelling delicious. Put these on for about 15, 20 minutes with that temp kicked up. It got to about 400. These things are solid. You know you packed them good if you get that bounce and that firmness. Oh man, these are gonna be good. Let's slice one up here. Look at that juiciness. So nice and juicy. See how it tastes. Absolutely delicious. You can tell it's fresh and homemade. You get a lot of chicken sausages at the store and they kind of taste fake. This tastes really good. You start up front with a great smoky flavor to it, great texture, and then you get that jalapeno ranch seasoning kicking in. There's a little spice to it, not overly salty. Even with that bacon in there, not overly salty. It's got a good spice to it. These are fantastic. Go check out Big Wick's online. They've got a great variety of pepper jelly glazes. And now this smoked jalapeno ranch mix, it is awesome. You can put it on so many things, make dips with it, season meat with it, make sausages with it. Go check it out. Thanks, Wes, for hooking me up with this recipe. Next time, I think I'm gonna add some cheddar cheese to this. Boom, next level. If you like what we did here, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check me out on social media. We'll be talking to you all soon. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Peace.